Right, in case you were wondering, the answer is yes. Yes, I've had these for a while. I got these when I was toy hunting on 4th Friday for the brand new Star Wars Black Series action figures. And I've had them in the packaging ever since. Tell you the truth, I almost forgot all about these figures because I've been so busy. Busy with life, busy with my job, busy with my second job, which happens to be YouTube, which I gotta say is kind of sloppy at the moment. So anyway, with that said, let's go ahead and give these figures their much due respect here in the spotlight at the reviewing station. And we're not going to review just one figure of this wave. We're going to review all 3 Paladins from the brand new DreamWorks Voltron Legendary Defender action figures. It says new, see? New, yes, new. Nothing else to say about that, so yeah, I digress. Let's go ahead and take a look at each one of these packagings. First and foremost, as partake of every single video review on this channel, here's Shiro's packaging with very nice artwork of the character. It looks like it came right off of the animated series on Netflix. I love this cartoon. I was not a fan of Voltron at all. I never really had a taste for Voltron until I saw Legendary Defender. I love this cartoon. I love Voltron. It makes me want to go back and watch the original Voltron series, and I will. In time. Bear with me on that. So anyway, catch it on Netflix. Yes, catch it on Netflix. Only on Netflix. And that's all I got to say about that. So, yep. There's the front to the back. Here's a summary of the character. Go ahead and pause the viewer if you want to read all this. And in case you want to see what's above it, it says Shiro Black Lion Paladin. Yes. There's an image again of Shiro, and this time the Black Lion behind him. Neat. And then here's also the other available figures. Well, not at this time, but coming soon. I mean, a good portion of these are already released from Series 1, and then Series 2 we got Lance, Keith, Shiro. And I'm guessing the next series to come out in January of next year, I'm assuming, will be Pidge, Hunk, and this Sword Attack Voltron. As far as I know, that's not out right now. I haven't picked up any of Series 1, not even the Road Beast, which I need to. I really have to. So anyway, there's Shiro. We got that one out of the way. Here's Lance. There's Lance. Lance. Netflix. Lance. Some logo. Lance. Lance again. Voltron, Lance, down the back, Lance, and there's Lance's summary. Yep, there's that. Okay, so now here's Keith, the best, because red is power. Ah! Keith, Netflix, Keith, Voltron, on to the back, Keith. There's that. Let's get these open. So we're going to do a quick jump cut, and I will be right back in an hour. But it's going to be quicker for you. Right, a quick jump cut later, and here are the 3 Paladins outside of their packaging. So let's go ahead and start off with Keith here, who happens to be the worst figure of this run. And I'm talking about in my perspective. I'm not talking about your action figures you may have picked up. Your results will be different. Go ahead and remove these 2 so the camera will stay focused on Keith because we got a lot to talk about. So let's go ahead and get to the detail on this figure. Looks good. Looks very nice. It looks just like the cartoon. Not much that I can say outside of that. I am very impressed. Sculpting? It's okay. It looks like the character, even if his hair isn't as volumized as it should be. But it's all about the gimmick. Yes. It is a very tight helmet to actually fit on this figure, and it's not perfectly aligned, but that's just my execution on getting this onto his head, which it's very difficult, and it's extremely difficult getting it off, so we're not going back on this. If you are new to Playmates toys, I'll just go ahead and tell you that they are the masters of sloppy work. Sometimes they can get away with it, sometimes their figures look good, and then most of the time they look like garbage. Well, the paint job is pretty clean from his shoulders, his head, his chest. The belt's nice as well. And then we start to get to the weird parts about this figure and the places that I gotta question why they're like this. So we got this blue here around his crotch area, which it doesn't make any sense because the blue here that's applied into his buckler is actually a very clean job. So what is this? Where did this come from? Why is it here? I don't know. I have no idea. It is a mystery to be told never. This is what's really bumming me out here, is for some reason, I don't know what this is. It's not on the other two figures, but when it comes to Keith here, he's got some red paint that's very faded on his forearms that goes all the way around the figure. I don't know what's causing it. It's not the painted gauntlet piece here on his hands. These are not causing any rubbing whatsoever where the paint is actually smearing off. It's not that at all. Because if it was, then it would be on Shiro and it would also be on Lance. I don't know what it is. I'm going to try and use something special to wipe that off if it's possible later on, but not right now. Anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and state the address there. So anyway, let's get to the leg section. Yeah, since this is a painted area, and due to the fact that they got the hinge joint in the wrong place with the articulation on the legs, it causes a bit of rubbing, and I mean quite a bit. And this is on all three figures. Unfortunately, this is not a clean paint job, and it's due to complications with these joints, which I hate. I hate these joints, and you will hear that throughout the rest of this video. The boots are nice. There doesn't seem to be any sloppy work to them at all, especially with the knee guards. They look good. Let's get to the articulation and be done with it with this video. We won't have to go through this again because each figure has the same amount of articulation in the same placement. Ball jointed head, hinge joint at the shoulders, which only gets that much movement outward. Full rotation right there. We got an upper elbow swivel joint to make up to the fact that the figure does not have a bicep swivel joint, so you know it cancels that out. We do have a hinge joint at the elbow, 90 degrees bend right there, single jointed. Wrist swivel, very nice. Nothing at the waist, which is kind of a bummer, but whatever. We got the stupid hinge joint to allow the legs to go up this much, go back as much as the same from frontward, and there's no inward and outward movement whatsoever. But there is a remedy for that. You can actually rotate it there, and then you get some inward and outward play. But it looks weird, doesn't it? Because of the way that the leg is placed there. I mean, what are you going to do, right? Single jointed knee, 90 degrees of bend, and there we got that. Now, back to this. So, Keith actually has a swivel cut at the boot section to allow the leg to rotate that way. And that kind of makes up for the fact that the figure cannot really do a natural split. So it makes up for it. It's not perfect, but it does help out with the problem, but not by much. So let's go ahead and get to his accessories outside of his helmet that I already showcased earlier. So he's got a shield. And the other figures have the same exact shield, so I don't know if I actually picked up Shiro's or Lance, because they're all three here. So anyway, let's go ahead and get this in his hands, and here's a little problem. Some of the figures hold their weapons just fine, other figures don't, because the hands are just, they're gripping too tight, and it is a very hard plastic, so you're going to have to soften it up a little bit with a blow dryer or maybe a heat gun, but don't put it too close to the figure. But anyway, once you do that, it should be able to, it should be able to get in there just fine, even though I'm failing at it right now. Here's a look at the Bayard in its sword mode. Paint job's clean, detail looks nice, not much else to really say about that. It is gummy rubber, by the way, just like Bandai's Power Ranger weapons, unfortunately. So, there you have it. Not much else to really say about this one, so let's move on to the next figure, shall we? Here's Lance. Okay, so we don't really have to go through much with this action figure because we've already done that with Keith. So the basics part is out of the way. We know about the articulation, so let's go through the parts that this figure has to offer that's different. let's talk about that sculpt of his head first and foremost. I'm sure the sculpting of this action figure is just fine outside of the paint job, because that's where this figure fails. Yes, the eyes are quite bothersome for two reasons. One, they're too big, and two, he's looking up for some reason. The other figures are looking straight. Why is he looking up? I guess if you adjust where his head is placed, it can kind of make it look like he's looking straight, but it's still, it's not good enough. It just ain't. Anyway, let's talk about his other painted areas, because this shoulder bit here is actually a problem as well. As you can see, it's very solid blue. It looks nice. It's very clean, except for that scuff right there, but that's just the modeling of the plastic. Anyway, with that said, you can see that there's a little white fading in there because it's not a complete paint job. It kind of fades out for white plastic to see through. So it is what it is. Now, having said that, he does not have the same problem as Keith with his forearms having, you know, streaking of like blue here. As you can see, it's clean all around. Pretty clean. Doesn't seem to be any sloppiness. Doesn't seem to be any blue here, which is very nice. Okay, so we got that problem again with the hinge joint at the legs being in the wrong place, causing some real bad rubbing with this paint section. So there's no preventing that, unfortunately. Not much that can be done about that either. The boots are once again, just like Keith, pretty clean. So there you have that. Alright, so let's get to his accessories and let's cover up that head. So he's got his helmet. It's removable. And thank God it's not as tight as Keith's, but I can adjust it actually without removing it. So there we go. That's actually on straight now. Very nice. He also has a shield. Let's go ahead and get that in his hands. He holds it much better than Keith, but I'm not going to try and move it around too much because it might fall out of his hands. And he also has his Bayard, which is actually in its blaster mode, which is nice. Very detailed, very clean paint job. Not much more I could really ask for. Well, except for maybe getting it in his hands, which was actually easier this time around. Oh, wow. So yeah, that works nice. Okay, so here's a look at Lance. One last look. Alright, on to the next one. You don't have to ask why. Shiro, the last action figure of this review today, and the best figure to come out of this one. He's awesome. What else can I really say about it? Well, let's go through the specifics of this one. Head sculpt. Alright, this one could be a little bit of a challenge in some areas. He's got the slanted eyes, which is accurate. He does actually have his scar across his face there around the nose, but it's not coming out too well. Oh, there we go. He's got the white going on, or should I say the gray for his hair on the back. There's that. Again, a pretty clean paint job with this figure actually, except for this area. Once again, just like Keith, I don't understand, with a perfectly painted blue section here, why is there blue here? I don't understand the logic between this. I don't understand. But thankfully, just like Lance, no rubbing whatsoever, or whatever caused the smears to go across Keith's forearms. There's a scuff right there, but outside of that, this is actually the cleanest paint job. Doesn't seem to be any chipping whatsoever on either side. So let's get to the boots. Once again, just like the other two, pretty good. Alright, so outside of this area here, this is a very clean action figure, and he's the best action figure of this run. The accessories, so once again, just like the other two, we got the Paladins helmet. Let's apply it. It goes on pretty smooth, and it's straight. Let's give him his shield. Like I said, all three have the same shield. It's pretty tight. It's not going anywhere. Last thing that this figure comes with, and this is the real letdown, he does have a robotic hand, so let's go ahead and put this robotic arm, actually not hand, on, which is pretty tight. I don't see how a kid can actually do that, but whatever. So there you have that. And it would have been much better if this was actually translucent purple here instead of being a solid purple. Well, actually, the hand is white. It's just painted over in purple, and it fades into that powerful effect with his robotic arm from the show, which he could pretty much slice through anything, basically. Now, the nitpick about this one. No Bayard. I mean, you know, if you're watching the recent or the current season of Voltron Legendary Defender, then that doesn't really cause any problems, does it? But, I mean, he is the Black Lion pilot. He should have came with his Bayard, even if it was in just his normal key mode, which would have been fine with me, because he doesn't really have any special weapon or tool with that Bayard outside of it being the key for the Black Lion, which I would have been okay with it if he had just came with that. But he doesn't. He doesn't have that. It just wasn't in the budget. So, for what it is, though, still pretty cool figure. Right, so let's do a side-by-side comparisons to wrap up this video review. And as you can see, each figure has their own specific scale in the 4-inch range. I really do appreciate that they're actually paying attention to scale of these figures, and it makes me wonder what Hunk, Pidge, and eventually Emperor Zarkon is going to look in the scale of the 4-inch line. This is something to really keep an eye out on, because as it stands right now, they did a pretty good job. And if that's not enough, let's bring in something that's nearby. So here is RC from the first Transformers film, a motorcycle compared to these figures, which looks okay. That actually looks legit. And since I've got this right here, here's a Q-tip. Yeah. Alright guys, that's basically going to wrap up this video review. You're going to have to judge these figures for yourselves. I've given you my 2 cents about them. I like them, but there's some things about them that needs to be adjusted with the next run. If not sooner. Maybe if they re-release these figures with some improvement, that would be nice, but this is Playmates toys, so I seriously doubt it. If they don't, I'll still collect these figures anyway because I just love the freaking show. Go watch Voltron Legendary Defender if you haven't already. It's an awesome show. So, questions or comments, you know what to do. Hit it down below in the comment section of the video. If you like today's video review, hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't like it because it was too long, or, you know, you just didn't like something I said about these figures, which kind of put you in that tempered mood, hit the thumbs down button. I don't care. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See other video reviews similar to one that you're seeing here today. Until then, this is your King Red's Power signing off, saying thank you very much for watching this, and I will see you whenever you see me.